Welcome again to the TeenLife Live Gap Year Virtual Fair. This is our second of two sessions this evening, where you're going to hear from 6 more amazing Gap Year programs. If you didn't join us for session 1, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. We hope you find something that you're looking for here among our programs in the second session. And if you are joining from our previous session, we're so glad to have you here. We've got some amazing more programs for you to hear about. So we're excited to get that underway. A reminder to any of you joining us, your camera and your microphone are turned off. Our presenters tonight won't be able to see or hear you, but they are ready and willing to answer any questions you might have in the chat or in the Q&A panel of Zoom. So if at any point you have questions about what you hear tonight, the programs you hear from tonight, or really any questions or comments at all, feel free to drop those in the chat or drop them in the Q&A, and those representatives from our programs tonight will definitely get back to you with some answers. So we encourage you to take advantage of that. After the presentations this evening, there will be a short sort of roundtable question and answer where you'll get a last chance to hear from all of our presenters tonight. So we really encourage you to stick around for that so you can get just a little bit more information and we can get some more info from our presenters. Lastly, this program is being recorded. So if you like what you see, or if you're here now, but you maybe can't make all of it, the whole 45, 50 minutes tonight, that's totally fine. Or maybe you want to share what you see tonight with a friend or a teacher, counselor, peer, whatever you want. Keep a lookout tomorrow morning, and we should be sending you the full recordings of both this session and our first session. And so you're welcome to watch those again or do whatever you'd like to with them. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Marie Schwartz, the founder and CEO of TeenLife Media.
Hi, everyone. I just want to congratulate you for considering the concept of taking a gap year. I think it's one of the most rewarding things you could do as a teenager, especially before college, but also during college. It will totally change your perspective on life and teach you a lot about yourself. So TeenLife exists to make it really easy to find these programs. I just want to share 3 screens with you. This is our gap year page that you can find just by going in the drop down up here. And these are the filters you can use. You can choose by destination, program delivery, all kinds of different options, credit awarded, and really narrow down some programs that fit all of your criteria. You can also download our guide to gap year programs right here. And then you can visit our blog where we cover a lot of different topics about gap years. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jonathan and enjoy the session.
Thank you so much, Marie. We're going to go ahead and get right into our first presenter of the evening, and that's going to be Where There Be Dragons.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily, and I'm here with Where There Be Dragons to present to you about our immersive, responsible, and educational travel programs. So a little bit about Dragons to begin. We've been running programs for nearly 30 years. We started in Asia and quickly moved to parts of Latin America and then Africa. And most recently, we've been running programs in the US. We have 4- and 6-week summer travel for students aged 13 to 20 and 3-month gap year programs that start in September and February for students aged 17 to 22. And some of our GAP programs also offer optional college credit. So Dragons programs really have 2 main goals. They're very place-focused, as well as focus on our students. Place-focused means that we run programs that aim to honestly immerse students in the areas that they're traveling in. And we hope that they're able to develop meaningful relationships to the places and people they meet. When I say self-focused, I mean we use our travel experiences to push students to learn more about themselves and their values so that students can gain new skills and perspectives. So what does Where There Be Dragons mean? Map makers once drew dragons to represent lands unknown, and bold explorers who ventured to the map's edge were said to go where there be dragons. This really speaks to our name. Today, it means going places that are off the tourist map and getting to hear and witness lesser known stories and realities, but it's also about new and unexplored places you can find within yourself. So what makes Dragons unique? Our programs are custom crafted and one of a kind, meaning we never run the same program twice. because we have expert instructors. You're going to have a rough itinerary of what you're doing, but our instructors really get to show you their homes and second homes. They have 5 to 15 years of experience in the regions they're taking you into, and many of them are Peace Corps or teachers, or in the past have also lived locally in these regions. We run in small groups with 12 students to 3 instructors because we want our instructors to really mentor you. And fun on a Dragons program might be a little different than what you think. It might be playing chess with monks or playing soccer with your homestay family. And we also are all about responsible travel. So Dragons programs are also educational, meaning our students get to learn about the history, politics, culture, and human rights and development issues in the region, but in an experiential way, meaning that everything is hands-on and you're not going to be in a classroom. And programs are structured differently, and there's something for everyone, which makes them really holistic. There's course themes that I'm going to go over soon in the focus of inquiry, and our programs overall are fun and safe. So these are the 9 program components that really make our programs holistic. But I'm going to go over the focus of inquiry first. It's the main topic of the course, and this is often influenced by the expertise of your instructors and also themes and topics that you're interested in. On a Dragons program, expect to travel ruggedly, meaning that we're not going to be in fancy buses or hotels, and we're going to be in homestays where students live one-on-one with families. There's language study on our programs, but there's no experience needed, and different programs focus more or less here. And trekking, which on different programs are from day hikes to epic hikes, and our independent study projects, which is where a student gets to pick a passion project, something they really want to learn more about, and study that in the region, and be linked up with local mentors that their instructors probably have the resource to give them so that they can really dive deep into these projects. And there's also comparative religion and development studies that range on all of our courses. So you might be thinking, who are our students? They're curious. They don't just want to have fun, but they're looking for something deeper, grittier, and a little different. They want to be challenged and grow as humans. And they overall want a rad adventure. We have students from all over the US and growing international communities. And just remember, we also offer financial aid. And I'm going to put my email in the chat after if that is something you're interested in. Feel free to email me. And it takes a lot to do a course like this. And if this excites you, great. We offer a space for questioning and learning. So if you're interested, check out the Where There Be Dragons website. I'll also link that below in the chat. We have a rolling admissions, meaning that our program doesn't have a deadline to when you have to apply to it by, but once it's filled up with 12 students, we close the program. But also on our website, we have program prep materials. If you're taking a gap year, anywhere, they're a super helpful resource. So where do you want to go? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily. Really appreciate it. I'm going to be moving on to our second presenter of the evening, and it's going to be Wilderness Adventure.
Hey everyone, my name is Will Previtt. I'm here with Wilderness Adventures, representing our gap semester programs here. Let me share my screen quick. All good?
Looks great.
Perfect. So like I said, my name's Will. I run our gap programs here at Wilderness Adventures. But first, we're going to take actually a look at our 2021 fall gap student, Kyla Walker, and kind of hear her thoughts on what it's like to be a student on our gap semesters.
Hi, I'm Kyla. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. This gap semester has meant a lot to me. I found myself again. Before this, I've gone through a series of finding myself, but I feel like through this trip, I am so much happier, and being away from my phone and like just being in nature has brought me to myself again. I feel more myself than I have in a really, really long time. My favorite day so far has been the 10-mile hike. I got to lead it, and it was really empowering to like know that I'm capable of not only doing a 10-mile hike, but leading like my peers and trip leaders. It just made me realize that I am capable of doing anything. if I put my mind to it. So I think that was one of my favorite days for sure. There's so much time to find like what you want to do in life, and this trip has definitely helped push me in the right direction. I love the friendships I've made. I love the community aspect. Yeah, I will never forget this trip.
All right, so that's a little bit about kind of what our wilderness semesters, how they represent each other, and a little bit of insight from one of our past students. The first program we're going to be talking about is our summer gap semester in the Rockies. It's a 42-day trip based here, kind of starting in Utah and kind of working your way north to the Rockies here. Some program highlights. We're a wilderness. We backpack, we whitewater raft, we do. One of the bigger components with this specific program here in the Rockies is a WA internship, where students will be able to spend 5 days with a local trip here in the field, kind of working and imitating the responsibilities as a trip leader. There's some whitewater kayaking in there as well. Students have the opportunity to get their wilderness first responder course, which is something common across all of our gap semesters that we offer. Industry standard certification. So if they're looking to get into any type of trip leading or guiding, this is for them. So that's a little bit about our summer gap semester in the Rockies. We also offer 2 fall gap semesters coming this 2022. First one in the Rockies is starting September 12th to November 18th, 68 days in length, arriving in Salt Lake City, departing out of Jackson Hole. Tuition cost is $15,395. Some program highlights with this one. You get to start the trip by a circumnavigation sea kayak around Yellowstone Lake here right in our backyard, followed by some backpacking in Lamar Valley and Yellowstone as well. There's a service project that we do with the Bridger-Teton National Forest here in Jackson. There's opportunity to explore Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park when we head down to Utah. There is a swiftwater rescue course on the lower salmon out in Idaho, where the students will be embarking on learning those rescue techniques and how to navigate whitewater and walking away with a swiftwater rescue technician certification. Like I mentioned before, they also get their wilderness first responder certification. They'll do a little bit of rock climbing and some canyoneering in these. So, it's a common theme amongst all of our semesters is a ton of variety in learning all of these different activities. We pride ourselves in a lot of different sections on each semester, and students really have the opportunity to spend time in the front country, back country, and really learn and work together on all of these skills. The second semester that we offer in the fall is our fall gap semester in the Pacific Northwest. Starts September 1st, goes to November 9th, 70 days in length. Arrival and departing out of Seattle, and that tuition cost is $15,750. Some program highlights with this specific semester is going to be backpacking in the North Cascades National Park, also backpacking in the Mount Adams Wilderness and Olympic National Park throughout, all at different times throughout the semester. We have a mountaineering and ice climbing and crevasse school course with RMI on Mount Baker. We're really excited about that. Students really get those technical skills from highly trained professional guides. There'll be sea kayaking in the San Juan Islands. There will be a whitewater raft guide training on the Deschutes, where they'll kind of learn the ins and outs of what it's really like to be a raft guide, and also just enjoying some time down the river. There will be a backpacking service project in the Eagle Cap Wilderness, kind of working with that local national forest, trying to, do some trail building, really work together on those types of things. There will also be some climbing at Smith Rock State Park, and on top of that, getting that wilderness first responder certification. This brings us to our spring gap semester in the Southwest. We got 2 sessions we run out of this one, February 15th to April 25th, and then the second session starting February 23rd to May 3rd. 70 days in length, arriving in San Antonio, departing out of Salt Lake City. That tuition cost is $15,325. And some program highlights with this one in the Southwest. We're starting in Texas, in San Antonio, and we're working our way north all the way up to Utah. You'll be canoeing in Big Bend National Park along the Rio Grande. There's a 7-day canoe paddle on that one. as well as a canoe section down the Green River on down Labyrinth Canyon. There'll be 4 days of climbing at the Cochise Stronghold. So kind of learning that intro to rock climbing, learning how to belay, how to top rope. We'll be exploring Chaco Culture National Park, really learning about the indigenous peoples of the area. You'll be focusing on a wilderness first responder course as well, with a couple of different backpacks in there as well, backpacking the Coronado National Forest out in Arizona, Needles District and Canyonlands National Park in Utah, and some backpacking in the Grand Staircase Escalante, as well as some exploration around Moab, and to end it, whitewater rafting Cataract Canyon. And so you may be asking, why take a gap semester of Wilderness Adventures? Well, we're a small company. We really pride ourselves in, that small and inclusive group setting. Our students are really able to find themselves and really have, the opportunity to connect with a like-minded cohort and explore, some of these natural wonders that we have, all while learning some technical skills, learning, how to backpack, how to raft, how to rock climb, and also, improving their sense of maturity, community, self-awareness, and all the things that come with, spending some immersive time in nature. And don't forget, they get their wilderness first responder on all of our courses, as well as some of that swiftwater rescue certification. So they're walking away with their things to add to their resume. And they're also creating lifelong friendships and memories along the way. And that's kind of what we got for Wilderness Adventures. Thank you guys for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Will. Moving on to our next presenter of the evening, we're going to be hearing from Mix.
Hello all, so excited to be with you. Already the fact that you are a gap year student inquiring puts you ahead of the pack. You know that experience is worth it all. So at Mix, we came out of a 3.5-year think tank from the top minds in education, from the Ivies to K-12, really rethinking, what can education be? What do we know about learning? And we know that you learn by doing, and it shouldn't be school versus life. It should be life and school together to inform themselves and to let you find your why. So I'm going to say something controversial. Every year can be a gap year. How we do that is at Mix, you create your path, okay? We are a personalized high-touch program. Most of our students are gap year students, but some are online degree students, and some are getting direct-to-work certifications. At Mix, you are going to explore the world, meet friends, find your true self through our one-to-one mentoring and life coaching. You get both a life coach and a mentor while exploring the world, and in addition, starting to gain clarity on what's next. That might be trying to find what I should major in and taking classes that really allow you to dive into your passions and learn more. So you walk away from that year with clarity and also college credits that you could transfer over, or you might decide, hey, this is the way I want to do college and travel the world with us at Mix. And many of our gap year students decide to do just that. Really quickly, I want to show you an example of next fall's, this is Destiny. This is her Explore Mix. She doesn't know if she wants to go into film or healthcare, and she has no idea what's next. So we have taken the top courses from the top professors and industry leaders around the world and created a course mix for her to allow her to explore and make an informed next step. But the online piece is just this much the mix. We're all about you being out in the world, discovering yourself through apprenticeships, wellness, and just yesterday, our students went ziplining. We believe that the world is your classroom, and as a gap year student, you should get out there and get stories worth telling. But I could go on, but the best thing to hear is from our students. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen really quickly and let you hear directly from our students who've gapped with us. Adam?
Hello, my name is Jackson.
Hi, my name is Faith.
I'm Mixie.
My name is Maximus.
I struggled with what I wanted to do with life.
I did not know what I wanted to do.
I had no idea where to start.
Then I started talking to the mixed team. I started getting a plan ready for my life and for what I wanted to do.
I came to study entrepreneurship and realized a passion of mine is building businesses.
I found my passion.
I'm super passionate about the project I'm working on right now. Reflecting on my time in Miami, it's the start of something fantastic.
This is Mix.
This is Mix.
This is Mix.
This is the mix.
So you can see that the mix experience is truly one where you can find your why and live with a cohort of peers that will become one, your best friends and your network and your next step. Really quickly, each semester, we have campuses around the world, but we're excited to present to you the 2022-23. We will be starting in Miami in the fall, moving to Costa Rica in the spring, and then to Europe, most likely Athens. Each time you will be able to ignite a new course mix of courses that dive into your passions and allow you to get a step closer to your goals, while also getting apprenticeships and real world experience so you leave with a portfolio to show the world what you're made of. We are really lucky because right now, one of our students is at Mix Costa Rica and on the line. Max, come say hi.
Hi guys.
Max, I would love to hear from you since you're live on campus, and maybe you could, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we could see more of you. Where are you right now on campus?
I'm on the top deck. I came up here hoping I could catch the sunset, but we've missed it.
Were the monkeys there?
Yes, I wanted to get those too. I don't know if I can flip my camera. They're all running across the roof over here.
Unbelievable. So tonight is the mixer. What is, can you tell me?
So yeah, every Thursday we have a dinner where we all get together. We have a dinner and usually we have guest speakers and there's some kind of topic like for dinner that they'll come and discuss, and then we all eat together, and then usually the speaker will talk again after or before.
Max, tell us about your experience. Like, what are you getting out of the mix? Why have you chosen to do this?
Yeah, oh boy, I don't know where to start. There's a lot of reasons I came to the mix. College really, I mean, it wasn't not for me, but the return on investment for college, I don't think is what it was, and that's something my parents stressed. I came not knowing what I wanted to do. I started taking classes for entrepreneurship. I was the guy in the video with the mustache. I'd since then shaved. Yeah, I went for entrepreneurship, loved it. I want to push a little business that I started for my project last semester in Miami. I want to push it forward and study social media marketing. I think that's my next biggest step for doing so.
And what do you have to say to students who are thinking of gapping and going to do an exploratory experience?
Absolutely. The most incredible. I mean, the plan was gap semester. I was only going to go for one semester, and I'm not going back to school. I don't think I need it.
Yeah, so you heard it from Max. We're so excited to be part of the gap, have gap students come to the mix. You truly are an inspiration to us. We applaud you for taking the time to think about, I demand more from my education. I want to experience it. So thank you so much for showing interest in the mix. I'm going to drop in a link soon. So if you have any questions, you can hit us up anytime. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Fantastic, exciting stuff. We're going to move now to our fourth presenter of the evening, to Parzival Academy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Raluca Cannon, one of the co-founders of Parzival Academy. I'll be sharing my screen with you in a second. Is this good?
Looks great.
Thanks. So Parzival Academy is a self-discovery program that is aimed at bridging the gap between school and life, the current needs of adulthood. So what we noticed so far, similar to other gap programs, is that our society is demanding so much from these 18-year-olds. They demand to have it all figured out, maybe even before 18. But there's very less time to prepare them for life. So our program is aimed at self-discovery, and we strongly believe that our education system is constantly feeding them someone else's answers, and it's particularly geared towards competition instead of collaboration, being the best of everything. So no wonder that we hear so much of self-doubt, so much of I am not enough from some of these young adults. On top of that, the focus is on doing rather than being. So the result is that we forget to really listen to those young adults that are sitting in front of us. And we forget to ask, what do you really care about? So at Parzival Academy, we strongly believe that all the answers are within ourselves. throughout our curriculum, we encourage our students to really dig deeper into who they are, find their own voices, find their own perspectives. It's really a journey to becoming, not a doing. We really realize that this generation is looking for a connection to meaning and to purpose, and that's what we're trying to bring with our program. They also need a safe space to dream and question and explore, far away from social media, far away from all these external inputs. And more than before, we believe that there is no I without we. So that's what we're doing in the socio-entrepreneurship spirit. We're trying to cultivate this connection between the individual, the others, and the world around them. Our program takes students through 4 stages. We start with the stage of discovery, where we really help students discover who they are, what can they offer, what are their own strengths, their own unique perspectives, and how are those influencing their life. And we move on into connect, where we really delve into what matters to them, what are our values, where am I needed? And we bring all that into the envision stage, where we help them understand how, with all the things that I discovered so far, how can I be myself? How can I offer my gifts to the world? And at the end, it leads them to be able to create that congruence between their will, their emotions, their feelings, and their thoughts. All is coming together to allow them to feel that sense of fulfillment. How does it work? Our program starts with an in-person orientation week in Colorado, where besides the fun, we're aiming at bringing the group together, and we're aiming at creating that space for deeper connection and deep conversation, so they can feel safe in sharing, they can feel safe in digging deeper and really find the answers to those questions. There's fun as well. We start the days with yoga, and we end up with campfire and s'mores. We do nature exploration. We have a lot of creative expression activities and projects, and we bring our own personal chef with us. Then we move into the online live teachings, where we have meetings, we have group projects, co-working sessions, and we have weekly personal and mentoring coaching for each of them, for each of our students. And we finished our program with an in-person graduation week back in Colorado, where besides the celebration, we also try to understand how can they use whatever they got to our program beyond our program in their day-to-day life. We would like, other than us saying how are they feeling, this is what our students and their parents are saying. So what we hear from them so far is a sense of independency, a sense of autonomy, a sense of awareness that brings focus to whatever interests them, and an increased capability to really deal with discomfort if it comes, to deal with the unknown. It's been so rewarding to see the students and their parents seeing all these things part of our program. I encourage you to check our website, parzivalacademy.org, reach out to us via email. You can also easily schedule a conversation with us. We are very curious to get to know you, to get to know your questions. Our website has full information. You can visit our FAQ section as well. The program starts in September, ends in May. It's 8,500. So, and we're thinking about a shorter version coming up. So do reach out to us and stay in touch with us. As I'm closing, I would like to invite the parents that are part of this meeting as well to really reflect on what would you say to yourself if you were 18 again with what you know right now. And I will also invite the students to reflect on what do they really care? What makes your heart tick, and what can you not do? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, and excited about those opportunities. We're going to move now to our next presenter, which is Lars St. Louis.
All right, thank you. Let me get my screen shared here. Okay, great. So my name's Sam, and I'm representing Lars St. Louis tonight. You're probably wondering, what is Lars? How do you pronounce it? Well, I'm here to help explain. So Lars is a community of people with and without disabilities choosing to live together and share life together. We celebrate the unique value of each and every person, and we take into consideration our need of one another. So this is both for people with disabilities and people without disabilities. We recognize we need one another, and we help one another. So to tell you a little bit more about L'Arche and how it began, I want to share when it was founded. L'Arche was founded in France in the 1960s when a couple men without disabilities decided they wanted to invite a couple people with disabilities to live with them and to share life together. It was never meant to be some big international organization, but it quickly took off, and other people were fascinated with how can we start a L'Arche community. And I think this is all because L'Arche is a way of really seeing other people with the dignity and the value that each of us holds. So now L'Arche is all over the world, as you can see on here. And the term L'Arche is a French word, and it translates to ark in English, like a boat. So if you think of a boat, it's a safe place in sometimes waters that can be treacherous. So we encourage people who are joining our community that L'Arche is a safe place where you will be cared for as you serve people with disabilities and care for them. Now to tell you a little bit more about L'Arche St. Louis and what our community looks like specifically. We've been around St. Louis since 2011. We started off as just one home where we had a few core members. Core members, that's the language we use to describe our adults with disabilities who live with us. We had a few core members living there, as well as a few assistants. The assistant role is what I'm here to advertise to you guys interested in a gap year. Being an assistant means spending time living in a L'Arche home alongside core members, people with disabilities, and just sharing life and helping one another and being helped. It's a chance to celebrate the gifts in every person. And to share more about why we choose the language of core member. In France, the word core translates to heart. And so in our community, we use the word core to describe the people with disabilities because they're why we exist. They are the ones at the center of our community and everything that's good about it. So now we've grown in the past 11 years in St. Louis. We now have 3 homes with 11 core members. We have several assistants living in each of our homes as well. And then we also have friends and volunteers outside in the greater community who play a role as well. So a little bit more to describe what L'Arche is and what we do. We welcome difference and we celebrate the gifts of all people. We do this in a few ways. First, I would say we make known the gifts of people with disabilities, and we do this through relationships. So at L'Arche, if you were to spend time as spending your gap year with us, you wouldn't be just serving people with disabilities, but you would be entering into friendships with them and recognizing that they have gifts that you can learn from as well, which I think that mutuality piece is so beautiful. Also, we foster an environment in our community that adapts to the changing needs of our core members. So like I mentioned, the core members are at the center of what we do. So the way we work and spend our days is with their needs in mind. And lastly, we engage in diversity. This looks like diversity of culture, perspective, faith. Everyone is welcome at L'Arche, and we think that when we're together, even with our differences, we're better for it. We believe that we are creating a more human society where everyone is welcomed, not because of what they can do or what they're capable of, but simply because they're a human being and they have gifts. To tell you a little bit more about myself, I started with L'Arche. I first heard about it in 2017 when I was looking to do a year of something new. And I was quickly fascinated with the idea of living in intentional community with people who are different from myself. And yeah, I was so captivated by it. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I picked up and moved to St. Louis to be a part of it. And here I am 3.5 years later, and I'm a part of the L'Arche community and happy to share about it with you today. Some of the things that I really loved about L'Arche and that I love doing every day at L'Arche are just celebrating the value and the beauty in everyday moments, whether it's sharing coffee over the breakfast table or helping prepare dinner with our housemates or taking a trip to the YMCA every week to go swimming. We get to do those things with other people and share in celebration and also share in hard moments too. At L'Arche, we recognize that we're living daily life with each other. And so some days are really fun and really exciting. Other days are really hard. And we get to just live into that and share those feelings with each other. So now, why should you do a gap year at L'Arche St. Louis? Well, first I want to tell you that a gap year with L'Arche is paid. We offer a paid gap year. So you would be paid to spend time with us, to live in one of our homes. You wouldn't have to pay for room and board or for food. That would all be, L'Arche covers all of that. So it's a chance to learn how to live well in community, how to share your own gifts, but also receive from others and highlight their gifts. This is a valuable experience if you're looking to maybe go into the healthcare field one day, or if you're looking to go into social work or whatever. Like I mentioned earlier, Lars, we like to talk about becoming more human as a society. So no matter what you're interested in, time with L'Arche could be really crucial for you and really amazing. We've also put into practice a holistic way of viewing health. So we recognize that health isn't just physical, but it's also emotional, it's spiritual, and at L'Arche we live into those things every day. And like I mentioned earlier, we learn how to walk with others through very hard moments and through really great moments. We know how to celebrate at L'Arche, we know how to have fun, and we also know how to sit with other people and to just be in hard situations with them. So how can you incorporate L'Arche's mission into your life? If you decide to do a gap year with us, I encourage you to ask yourself these questions. Do you have a desire to help those around you? Do you feel challenged to embrace mutuality, vulnerability, and celebration? If so, will you consider joining us? Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Sam. Really appreciate it. We're going to move now to our final presenter of the evening. Last but not least, we're going to hear from Camphill Communities of North America.
Hi, okay. Can you pull up the PowerPoint? And I'm sorry, I'm going to be saying next slide a lot. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Hi, so I'm Lila, and I am going to tell you a little bit about what Camphill can offer gap year volunteers. And I want to emphasize that word volunteer. Perhaps a little bit like Lars. It's funny to follow on Lars. We have a lot in common. But I will tell you a little bit more about Camphill. We do not charge for gap year experiences in Camphill. We also provide free room and board, and we have a modest monthly stipend and a host of other benefits as well. Next slide, please. Oh, you already got there. Okay, good. So what is Camphill? We're an 80-year-old network of independent nonprofit communities and schools around the world, but I'm focusing here in North America. And we serve people who have intellectual and developmental disabilities like autism and Down syndrome. And together we co-create full and meaningful lives for everyone in Camphill. Most of our communities rely on volunteers, so that's like short-term gappers, and then long-term staff who might be spending 5 or 10 years in Camphill or their entire lives, like raising their children. A lot of people do that and then they retire in Camphill. And yeah, I mean, that's a big part of the model that makes Camphill really unique. Can you go to the next slide, Jonathan? Thank you. So yeah, so what else makes Camphill unique? And that next slide. So that's starting with the authentic relationships. And so really, like, when you live and work in community, you really just have to be yourself, because you can't like separate these different parts of who you are. And so I'll go into that a little bit more on the next slide, so we can just enjoy a pretty picture instead of stuff on the screen. Oh, can you go back up? Sorry, to the one with the nice picture. There we go. Thanks. So yeah, the folks that we support are like really good at this. Like, they're great models, they're great teachers for what it is to just be authentic and to kind of live from your heart. And then also everyone in Camphill contributes to sustaining the communities. So everyone, goes to work, everyone does chores in the house, and then everyone's just consciously making an effort to bring joy to everyone in the community. And all of that really is the foundation for authentic and reciprocal relationships. The next slide. Thank you. So environmental stewardship, right? Caring for the earth, second to caring for people, it's a huge value in Camphill. And so that shows up in a few different ways. If you can go to the next slide. So the biggest one is regenerative agriculture. We practice biodynamic farming in Camphill, and the majority of our communities that take volunteers, because some of our communities are more employment based and some are more of a hybrid and some are really focused on volunteers. So it's usually the ones that are very volunteer focused, that are on a lot of land, and they have biodynamic farms and gardens. And if you're not familiar with biodynamics, it's kind of like organic plus, plus, plus. And I'll tell you a little bit more if you go to the next slide. So, I mean, for one thing, the animals in biodynamic farming are just treated much better. Like, the calves are not separated from their moms. They get to drink their mom's milk instead of rehydrated powdered milk from China, which is a thing. The calves, we don't remove horns, pigs are not crated. Chickens roam the pastures. It's a much nicer life for the animals. And if you go to the next slide, you can see a photo of one of the gardens in one of our communities, and you can see just like how amazing the vegetables are. And that's not with using steroids or pesticides. That's really all about building up soil health. And so that, if you go to the next slide, feeds into another piece of Camphill, which is the healthy lifestyle. And I mean, for the most part, it's pretty obvious, right? Next slide. So the food, right? That's the first thing. The food in Camphill is completely amazing. In the growing season, it's like fresh farm to table. And then, I mean, it's also just an active lifestyle. You live really close to nature. You have all the health benefits of community. And then there's a really strong emphasis on creativity, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. So arts are huge in Camphill. If you go to the next slide, you can see a photo from one of our felting workshops. We also have weaveries, wood shops, ceramics, bookbinding, and even more than that. And then also performing arts are really big. So music, drama, dance. A lot of the communities, at least before the pandemic, would host like monthly professional musicians would come into the communities, and it would be like a nice thing that was open up to neighbors in the larger community. And we're all looking forward to getting back to that. And then the next thing is really that we foster an environment where everyone can thrive. Like, it's really about having people explore their gifts and kind of really giving room for people to grow. And so that is, of course, like our approach to working with people with disabilities, but really everyone benefits from that. Our long-term folks are trained in kind of this approach to working with people with disabilities, but then, yeah, it just spills out to everybody, which is really just a beautiful thing in Camphill. Oh, and I should have said next slide, but it's just a nice little picture from Camphill School. And then, so I was just going to really briefly talk about compensation because I mentioned like the long-term folks, right? So when I mentioned what short-term folks get, but then basically in Camphill, we try to meet everybody's needs, knowing that everybody has different needs. So like I said, people raise their kids in Camphill. Obviously, they're not doing that on the same kind of budget that a gap year person is working out of, but that way it's like everyone's really on equal footing and they're just taking what they need and kind of leaving the rest for everyone else so that everyone gets what they need. And it's kind of a magical approach because it means that we have a really comfortable lifestyle in Camphill. And then really quickly, I will just show you where we have communities in North America on the next slide. And so we have a bunch in New York and Pennsylvania. We're pretty well clustered in the Northeast, but you can see we have a few on the West Coast, including in Vancouver and on Vancouver Island outside of Victoria, and then Minnesota, and even a community in New Orleans, which is a school. And last thing that's really important is this question of who does well in Camphill. So life in Camphill really is magical. Like it's as beautiful as it looks. It's as idyllic as it looks. And it's also really not easy. Am I running out of time? Sorry. Okay. So I guess you can just see those things up there, but it really requires a lot of like emotional health and really just having a service, an orientation towards service. And that's basically it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. You're welcome to stay on screen because I'm going to welcome all of our presenters back on screen real quickly. I think you'll actually get a chance to maybe finish your last slide there because I'm going to ask everybody a question, and it's something you all touched on a little bit, but I'd love to hear more. I'm going to ask you, what does a typical student in your program look like, right? If students, what are the students who are drawn to your program? What qualities do they have? That you seem to notice. So I'm going to start. We're going to present in the order that we presented. We're going to answer this question in the order we presented in tonight. So I'm going to start with Where There Be Dragons.
Yeah. Hi guys again. I mentioned in my presentation, and I'll mention it again. Our students really want an in-depth, immersive experience, and they're also just curious about the world. A little personal anecdote. I was a Where There Be Dragons student in 2014, and what really brought me to be on a Where There Be Dragons program is I wanted to see more of the world that I never got to see before and go off of the tourist map. And some skills that I took with me that I use today is just my self-awareness from going on this program, leadership skills, as well as just being a part of a global community. And if that's something that you feel like you resonate with, feel free to look at Where There Be Dragons online and email me at any questions at emily@wheretherebedragons.com. Thanks.
Great. Will, what about at Wilderness Adventures?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little bit of background. I've been a trip instructor for Wilderness Adventures for 5 years. I've led all of these GAP programs we kind of talked about, and I've been able to work with a lot of these students. And I mean, our typical student, they're looking for that curiosity. They're looking for, that next step in their leadership ability. Our GAP programs fall under our Wilderness Adventures Leadership Institute. So, these students may be novice to kind of like the outdoor activities and kind of the things that we do, but they're really just looking for a really fun time. We do have the academic opportunities for them to earn up to 6 credits for our program. And they're really just, able to connect with that cohort of like-minded individuals, exploring those natural places and really just having a good time. They take away things like self-awareness, maturity, and just valuable life skills throughout, our veteran trip instructors who lead these trips, as well as getting to, really just do a lot of really fun activities. So it's a combination of things, but yeah, they're really looking for that immersive leadership intro kind of into the industry.
Fantastic. What about at Mix? What are the sort of qualities you see in your students?
Yeah, our students, and I'm going to add their parents, because often the parents find us, demand more. They want more for their child and their education. They are questioning the traditional path because they're learners who like to experience education. They're not sure what they want to do. So 50% of our students are gap year students who are like, I don't know what's next. Our goal is for our students to lead with the skills and the confidence to do what's next. So from their online courses from Harvard, Princeton, Yale, all those together, taking classes from the top institutions around the world, while also learning on site the design thinking process that we teach on site. And we also teach financial literacy. So these kids walk out confident in what's next. If that next is finding their major, but the students that really thrive are students who are curious, demand more, want to get out in the world, and don't want to be behind a classroom lecture.
Great answer. What about at Parzival Academy? What are the type of students? What are the qualities that you see among them?
I think for us, they're really hungry for those unique tools and for those things that are really not taught anywhere else in schools. They're ready to find it, and they're ready to know, they know there's something more out there. They're seeking also to make an impact, and they're really connected. They want to be connected to their purpose. Not just getting a job, not just going for college with the eyes closed. They're ready to deeply explore who they are, and that's what makes our program really unique. Both myself and my partner are life coaches, and we've seen so much in our work with adults that really we want to prepare this young generation for whatever is not given in the world right now, and whatever the world needs right now. They're open-minded, they're curious, and they're very courageous to dig deeper. And they're very creative as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Sam, what about at Lars? What type of students or what does the typical student look like?
Yeah. I think the typical person who we would welcome to Lars St. Louis for a gap year would be someone who's looking for like meaning, and not just in like a broad sense, but meaning that's really like channeled into something important. And that is what we believe, like caring for and supporting people with disabilities while recognizing their gifts and recognizing that they can care for us and support us at the same time. So someone who's willing to kind of challenge those social norms of relationship, and someone who's excited to embrace the dailiness of everyday life with other people.
Fantastic. Thank you. And lastly, at Camphill, what kind of student does well in those programs?
So I have a puppy who's sad about being in her crate. So I apologize if you hear whining dog. I would definitely say that people come to Camphill because they are curious about kind of experiencing a different approach to life. Also people come because they want to get into education or social work, and it does provide a good foundation for that. And also we have a large number of people who come because they're really interested in agriculture, but they don't necessarily want to separate working on the land from working with people. And so it's like a nice merging of those two things. And as I mentioned, I mean, Camphill life, it's a real challenge. The challenge is a challenge that if you stick with it, it really is so rewarding. But we really look for people who kind of go the extra mile and really want to be of service and make an impact in other people's lives. And also who want to kind of learn to live with a lighter footprint on the earth. So I think I kind of covered it with the earlier slide. And I guess the only other thing I'm not sure if I mentioned is we have volunteers who come from all over the world. So it's a really beautiful kind of diverse community experience.
Fantastic. Well, if that sounds like you, or if any of our presenters' descriptions sound like you, we encourage you to reach out to them and to learn more. I think if nothing else, we've learned this evening that a gap year experience can look just about like anything you want it to. It can. There's a wide range of options, and we hope that the presenters in our session this evening and in our first session earlier tonight have shown you, if nothing else, that they've shown you that. So I'd like to thank all our presenters for joining us, all of our attendees for sticking with us either through one or both sessions. And I hope you all have a great rest of your night and a great gap year. Thanks, everyone.